Greetings once again, my friends. It's almost like I have another update or something. So I tried to do my holiday update first, and then I wanted to do this specifically for listeners of the podcasts. Because first of all, I want to say a big, fat thank you to all of the supporters of the various podcasts that I do. And if you don't know about those podcasts, well, that's what this video is for. So first of all, thank you guys so much for your support. It's been amazing these last few weeks, the good news that has been able to flow through, especially with stuff we're about to cover. So let's go ahead and get into it. This is basically to answer a lot of questions that I've been getting in regards to how to get access to those podcasts, as well as any plans for them. So first of all, let's go ahead and handle the how do you get access to these podcasts. So I run I technically host two, and I co-host a third. And I'm actually going to go ahead and give all the information that I can possibly give to you guys. I'm actually working out social networking for two of those podcasts. So this will probably get another update later on when we do have all of that in place. But I will give you what I have right now. So first of all, I host Geek News, Reviews, and Opinions, which records every Friday night on YouTube at 8 o'clock. From 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, we do live stream recording of the podcast, so we have a live chat. We do interact with you guys, but then I actually go and do a final product that goes up onto the RSS feed. So you guys can take part in that new podcast, but then you have to wait a couple of days until I can get the brand new podcast up on the RSS feed. And yes, we have an RSS feed. So this podcast has been going on for a while, and we have some awesome news in regards to that. First of all, with all three podcasts, you can now find them on iTunes. So all you have to do is and I've double checked to make sure that this works. You can go to the iTunes store and look up Geek News, Reviews, and Opinions. And also, in case you don't want to put all that in, you can also look under the GNRO podcast, and it will work. I've had it work. If you have issues, tweet me and I will help you out at Drak2326, and we'll get the podcast in your hands. But you can search for Geek News, Reviews, and Opinions on iTunes and be able to get it there. You can also follow the RSS feed directly at the Podomatic page, which is geekyweek.podomatic.com. That's where you'll be able to get the most recent episodes as they go up, when they're edited, when they're refined, and final product and all that stuff. Or you can attend the live stream and you can see what we talk about there. It really doesn't matter either way. You're supporting the podcast, and that's all I care about. So yes, geekyweek.podomatic.com. The next thing I want to go into for Geek News is how do you talk about a lot of listener stories and listener feedback that you get. How do we do that? You can go to geekyweek@gmail.com. Once again, geekyweek@gmail.com. It'll be up on the screen, so don't worry about that too much. You can leave story suggestions. You can leave feedback for the podcast. The only thing that I ask is please keep things relevant to the podcast. If you're going to be a troll and just go, you guys suck, that's not feedback, and that's probably going to be an email I get rid of. Okay? Because here's the thing. You have the right to have the opinion that I suck. It doesn't help me get any better that you just tell me I suck. If you tell me how I can fix it, then maybe I can fix it and maybe you'll enjoy it better. The same thing for listener stories. I have a very strong against feeling on political stories. But Drak, you've covered politics in a really weird roundabout way. Okay? The two political stories that I have covered on the podcast are: one dude invaded a Trump rally dressed as Sailor Moon, and one guy jumped the White House fence dressed as Pikachu. That's it. These are the only ones that I've ever covered. I really do try to make the podcast kind of a safe haven from things like politics, because politics are everywhere, and I'm pretty sure that depending on whomever you guys are, somebody's political opinions on the podcast, it doesn't have to be mine, it could be Romney's, are going to drive you nuts. I can't stop that. So instead, I decided when I made this podcast that no, this is a safe haven. This is where you can go to not have to deal with the affairs of the real world. This is where you can go to deal with the things that you're passionate about. And you can deal with the stories that affect you as a gamer, affect you as a geek. especially when we have like brand new movies to talk about or brand new castings in a video game, things like that. That's what I try to aim for. So if you send me political stories about how you hate Trump or how you hate Hillary or how you hate Bernie Sanders or how you hate Ted Cruz, I really don't care. And sadly, I delete them because it doesn't help and it's not going to get covered. So I'm just going to put that out there. If you bring me a Bernie story, you may even also get a reply back going, I don't cover politics. Okay? That's just the way it goes. So that being said, geekyweek@gmail.com for your listener stories, for your listener feedback. We really do appreciate it. You can also follow Geek News, Reviews, and Opinions on social media under the same term @GeekyNRO. You can literally look for us on Facebook and Twitter under the same name, @GeekyNRO. Because it worked, the page for Facebook and the Twitter are both under the exact same name. So it's really easy for you to be able to find the podcast, and on those social media feeds, you'll get up-to-the-minute information where we're going live, the stuff we might be talking about. We actually do and plan on reaching out to you guys for feedback, as well as maybe stuff that you'd like to see us do on other things, like Gaming with the Geeks, or maybe on our other podcasts, things like that. So we do reach out to you guys because we love you. I know that we suck at it sometimes, but a lot of that is just because I'm running way too many things on my own, and I should be getting moderators for this stuff, and I don't have the money to pay for them. So, okay, on to the next podcast. So Geek News is probably the most popular thing that I do. The one that's coming up from behind that I didn't expect is the one that I co-host, and that's actually going to be the Running the Ropes podcast with my buddy David Vito. Me and my buddy David Vito have been in school for radio a long time, and we'd actually looked for reasons to get together and do some kind of a podcast, some kind of a radio show, because we really did enjoy each other's time. We were literally like right next to each other in the radio rotation at Radio SLCC. So, unfortunately though, he's a sportscaster, and I'm a geek guy. So we really couldn't find that stuff until earlier, I want to say last year, we actually found out that yes, we actually did have something in common. We love pro wrestling. We love it for different reasons, but we love pro wrestling. And decided to do the Run on the Ropes podcast, where we cover the latest news in professional wrestling. That can be anything from Ric Flair recently being hospitalized to our personal opinions of how the last pay-per-view went, stuff like that. Right now, there isn't too much for this podcast, but you can follow the RSS feed at runoftheropes.podomatic.com. So you can find that there. And obviously that'll also be up on the screen. And again, you can search for Running the Ropes podcast on iTunes and you will get the episodes. They do show up. So you can get that. And then also we do have an official Twitter, which is @podcastrtr. And you can reach out to us there. We may even start covering some of that news and putting it into the feed just to get it in you guys' hands. We don't necessarily get together that often. We wish we could get together weekly, but, well, life kind of gets in the way, so we get together like every other week so we can cover pay-per-views and stuff like that. But in the meantime, we have no problem also sharing news from the wrestling world that we find within that feed. So you'll be able to get it there too, as well as we love your interactions, and we love the recent feedback that we've been getting from a lot of you guys. It's amazing. And again, if you want to leave listener feedback as well as maybe some listener stories, if you maybe saw something that we didn't see, you can do so at runningtheropespodcast@gmail.com. So you can do that. There is a Facebook page, but we're having a little bit of issues trying to get the proper username for it and all that stuff. So until I actually sort that out, I'm not going to give that to you just yet, but you will get updated on the Twitter when we get all that stuff resolved, so we can see you guys on Facebook too. And finally, the last podcast that I do, which actually was only supposed to be like a YouTube project, but you guys have spoken, and so now it has its official RSS feed, the Why We Geek Podcast. You can actually look it up on Podomatic at whywegeek.podomatic.com, and all the episodes are up to date. I know that we're a little late on the September episode. It's been recorded. It just needs to be edited, and the holiday plans are already worked out. We actually have podcast plans for the rest of the year, and then we'll start up next year with some new podcasts as well. So you guys are going to be getting one once a month for the rest of the year. And for those who don't know what the podcast is, it's where once a month, me and a panel of 3 or maybe even 4 take a piece of geek culture and show why we love it. Sometimes that's with tough love, as we have done with episodes like in August, we did Sonic the Hedgehog. and we did explain some things that we were dissatisfied with. Most of the time, though, it's pretty positive, and so you guys can get a lot out of it. Once again, if you want to subscribe to that RSS feed, it is on iTunes. You can look up Why We Geek, and it's there. Or you can go to whywegeek.podomatic.com and be able to submit things there. If you want to submit topics for a Why We Geek podcast, or maybe even somebody you'd like to see us work with, because I'm not against that idea, as long as they're easy to contact and all that, you can reach out to us for feedback and also these suggestions at whywegeek@gmail.com. So you're able to do that. And also you can follow us once again on Twitter, not so much on Facebook. We're still trying to get the username and all that stuff of the page worked out, but you could follow it on Twitter at whywegeek. It's all available there, and you'll be able to get the most updated episodes when they're ready to go, and obviously feedback from you guys, because I do actually like hearing from the communities that have come around these podcasts. It's an amazing thing to be able to watch happen. Now, those are actually the places where you can reach us. This second half of the update is more for fans. Because I have been getting these questions and I wanted to answer them really quick, especially with the end of the year coming. We are very quickly approaching the holiday season for movies. And so there are two movies in particular that people have been asking, will we be getting special episodes of the Geek News podcast, of Geek News Reviews and Opinions on Justice League and Star Wars The Last Jedi? Unfortunately, Justice League, you won't. The unfortunate part there is that it's already kind of a difficult process to be able to get everybody together, especially when a guest wants to come in, like Brinton or Anime Atlas, things like that. And so we've decided that the appropriate one to do that with would be Star Wars The Last Jedi. So that way we don't have too many complications during the holiday season and all of the family stuff that goes along with it. So Justice League, you're not going to be getting an individual episode. However, we might, I know that me and the Shadow Blazer are going to get together and do a Justice League Drak and Shadow vlog on it. But that's pretty much going to be it for Justice League. Star Wars The Last Jedi, however, there will be a week, one of the episodes of Geek News Reviews and Opinions, I haven't figured out which, is going to be devoted to Star Wars The Last Jedi. The reason I don't know why is when is because I want to make sure to give people time just in case we can't all go together. But you are going to be getting an episode devoted to Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. It's going to happen. As far as holiday plans, we have some holiday plans. I don't want to go too much into it, but this is the only confirmation that you're going to get. It is the official return of Gaming with the Geeks, how it used to be. But Drak, what do you mean? People have noticed and have brought up to me a number of times that way back when, we actually used to do things like with our Smash Brothers, with our JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. All that stuff was actually done where we got together, we recorded like an hour or two's worth of footage and put it up for you guys. We've been wanting to do that again for a long time, but unfortunately, I haven't really had the equipment to do it until now. Now we actually are starting to get some of that equipment, and we want to bring it back for you guys. And we do have some games in mind, but we're going to keep that secret for now. If you follow the podcast, you probably have a feeling of where we're going with it, but I don't want to necessarily spoil it. That's why in a lot of cases I'm reserving so much time in December, is because we need to actually be able to record that, and I need to be able to edit that. So you're going to be getting that too, as well as the bonus episode, or the episode including The Last Jedi. But I will also say that for the last 2 weeks, along with Thanksgiving, there will not be a Geek News podcast recorded. So keep that in mind. We will basically end the year, and then we'll come back. We'll do our best and worst of 2017, and we'll be back to regular schedule as usual. But I think that's actually going to go ahead and do it for all the updates I have. I'm sorry that I talked a lot of you guys' ears off, but I wanted to make sure you guys knew where you could go to get access to the podcasts, as well as be able to show your support for them. And once again, thank you guys so much for the support you guys have shown. I cannot begin to thank you guys enough, or thank you guys and gals enough. I know a lot of people, or a lot of girls, get mad that I don't do that. I'm sorry. It's just a habit. So I appreciate all of you. And all of you have been able to give the feedback that we needed, the stories that we needed to be able to be the podcast that we are now, and things only get better from here, especially when we have an awesome community formed around these podcasts to help us get better. So I am so thankful for everything you guys do, and gals do. And that's going to go ahead and do it for me, so I will see you guys in the next video.